They keep wanting to play music, don't they? We'll get to the music in just a minute. Mr. Trump is still a few minutes out, so I have the unenviable position of trying to entertain you for a few minutes, which I'll try and do. But did you notice that if you jump the fence over at that convention they had in Philadelphia, you got arrested? But if you jumped the border fence, you got invited to speak prime time at their convention. Well, listen, the rule of law must be restored, and we talked about that a few minutes ago, but it just does seem to me, if you're going to have laws on the books, you need to enforce them. And I talk all the time on my show about gun rights. And you look at folks, and I heard Hillary last night talking about it, saying, I just want to keep guns out of the hands of people who shouldn't have them. Well, then enforce the law. Criminals can't have guns. Instead, we had a president who decided that he was going to commute the sentences of hundreds of people who had been convicted of drug crimes. I went through and chronicled those people and looked at who he commuted the sentences and what their charges were. And many of them were on drug charges. But along with those, and they weren't just petty little drug offenders. These were dealers. These were folks that were dealing cocaine and methamphetamine and those sorts of things. But almost every one of them had something in common. They also had a gun charge attached to their the charges that were filed with them. Now, why in the world, if we're worried about crime and we're worried about guns getting in the hands of wrong people, are we commuting the sentences of convicted felons back out on the street when they were convicted of a gun crime? I don't understand it. You know, the rule of law is so important, and I want a president who will respect the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, Article 1 of the Constitution that lays out the powers of the Congress of the United States. You just had Congressman Lamborn talking about the Congress and some of the things that they're doing. But we have a president who is just so dismissive. If they don't pass what he wants, he throws a temper tantrum and just does it anyway. And I want a president who's going to restore the rule of law and restore the Constitution of the United States. And I gave you the reasons why I'm voting for Donald Trump. And I have heard a lot of people say, well, I'm going to sit this one out. And I remind them that in 2008, John McCain was the presidential nominee of this party. He was my last choice of people to be the Republican nominee. But I voted for him, and I supported him. And guess what? A lot of people, many millions of people, sat that election out, and we got Barack Obama. And then 4 years ago, we had Mitt Romney as the Republican nominee. And we had a lot of people who said, well, he's not my guy, so I'm not voting for him. And we had 3 million people sit out because they didn't like his religion. They didn't like his views. He wasn't conservative enough. And what did we get? Barack Obama. Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I think I've figured out what happens when Americans sit idly by and don't protect and defend their freedoms by exercising their right to vote. We're going to get Hillary Clinton if we don't get behind Donald Trump. Now, there are thousands of you in here, and I do this on my radio show. I haven't had a taker yet. I'll bet $50 to anybody in here who wants to. In fact, I'll even give you 2-to-1 odds. Please don't tell my wife I'm doing this. I'll give you 2-to-1 odds and a $50 bet if you'd like to bet me that anyone other than Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States. Do I have any takers? Nobody wants to take that bet. Yeah. Because those are all of the 300 and some odd million Americans that we have now. there are now down to two choices, two people. And if you have, Gary Johnson can't win. But if you have, and unless you want to take my bet, whoever said Gary Johnson, I'd be happy to take your money. If you love your country and you love your Constitution and you want your rights as a gun owner and a citizen and your free speech rights protected, Donald Trump's your man. It's that simple. And I want to mention, while I'm here, I see a great man who's standing right over here. You all over on this side of the room probably can't see him. But a good man and a decent man who I've known for a long time named Darrell Glenn. They've been throwing some punches at him, but what they don't know is they don't know the Darrell that I know. I've known Darrell for probably going on 20 years now. And Darrell is as tough as nails. He is as decent and honorable of a person as you will ever know. And Darrell is going to win this United States Senate race for Colorado. And what a great day it will be when Colorado, of all places, Colorado, the swing state of Colorado, ushers Donald Trump into the White House and Darrell Glenn into the United States Senate. All right, well, I'm going to let some music play for a little while. We're waiting for Mr. Trump to arrive. He'll be here, we promise. He's en route. And we're going to let some of this go to chants of lock it up, lock it up.